Let's get started with the first question, inshallah. Abdul Wadud.
Assalamu alaikum.
Wa alaikum salam.
Visiting the sick in the hospital, what would you say you could do to benefit?
Lutfi. Visiting the sick in the hospital, what can you do to benefit them? First and foremost, before you benefit them, benefit yourself. Go there to think about the blessing of good health. Go there to think about the blessing of youth, the blessing of strength, the blessing of free time. Go there to think about the blessing of having wealth and not thousands, if not millions of dollars in bills and surgery and all types of problems, okay? And thinking and reflecting upon death. And that which goes up must come down in this dunya, as the Prophet ﷺ has told us. Allah will not allow a thing to be elevated except that it will become what? Low at one point. When the Prophet's camel, she-camel, lost a race that was unbeatable. His camel was so fast, no one could beat it. And then it was defeated, as Imam al-Bukhari has collected. So before you think about the next man, think about yourself. Most of us only think about others, which is a good thing. Muslims are to think about our brothers, but never lose focus of your own benefit. Secondly, you benefit them by reminding them of the hereafter, giving them glad tidings, making them feel better by visiting them. Their families, their friends may have abandoned them, their children, no one sees them, and the list goes on. Wallahu alam. Next question. Ahmed. What's the difference between a hujjah and a dalil? In general, to me, they're synonymous. A dalil is a hujjah is a dalil. Somebody may argue and say that the hujjah is you can't, it's irrefutable, mathalan, and the dalil could be used for you or against you, etc. At the end of the day, I don't know of a big, considerable difference, if any difference at all. And if you look into the books of the people of knowledge, you find them using them synonymously, interchangeably. Wallahu alam. Lutfi.
Pray in the masjid where the Qibla is, let's say, 45 degrees from the true Qibla, and obviously this caused many, fitna in the masjid. The Imam knows that about this issue, and he knows some hadith where the Qibla is between the east and the west. So does the Qibla needs to be returned? We're still ruling on this.
With regards to praying in the masjid, in which there's discrepancies concerning the Qibla. Discrepancies concerning the Qibla. You got to word it like this: 45 degrees, a different direction, etc. In brief, to keep the answer summarized, it depends on what's the original madhab of the Imam. What is your madhab? Meaning, what do you think about this issue? Is it mandatory to face the direct, exact, accurate Qibla? Or is it sufficient to face towards the east? That's a discussion among the people of knowledge. مَا بَيْنَ الْمَشْرِقِ وَالْمَغْرِبِ قِبْلَةً. What is between the east and the west is a Qibla. And what some of the people of knowledge disliked of going too deep in the concept of direction, the concept of nautical direction, the concept of astronomy and astrology, which are connected. Everybody understand this? And the ta'ammuq, going too deep into these things and making things difficult and having bad thoughts against the Muslims and their mihrabs, as Ibn Rajab rahimahullah explained in Fadl ilm al-Salaf ala ilm al-Khalaf. Some of the ulama, they dislike the people going too deep into this and then determining Muslims to be wrong, the Qibla is wrong, the Muslims have been praying in the wrong direction all of these years. And we know the direction, the use of the compass and all these different things, it's all connected with what? And it's all together. And astronomy is connected with astrology, without a question. The name of this body, the name of this constellation, the name of this star. Now, what the Muslims believe, and that's a different story. Of course, we don't get into those things. We don't believe in that falsehood and nonsense. But the concept of direction and accuracy and things like this. So at the end of the day, what do you believe? That it has to be northeast, southeast, or is it sufficient to be what? East. If the Imam and the people who run the masjid, if that's what they feel, then that's one thing. But if the Imam believes that this is wrong, it's a khata, And it cannot be just east, but it must be northeast or southeast. Long discussion, different story. Then you have to change it. Also, the concept of 45 degrees. Is 45 degrees, how gross of an inaccuracy is that? Everybody understand? Is that way off the direction? Or does an expert consider 45 degrees to be still within the direction? I'm not an expert in these things, but we have east, you have northeast. Between the two, how many degrees, how many clicks, so on and so forth. It depends. Well, at the end of the day, Islam is a simple religion. It's an easy religion. Islam is for every time and for every place. Did the Prophet ﷺ make it a burden upon us to have every single specific, minute detail towards the Qibla? Is that what's meant by face al-Masjid al-Haram? Allahu Alam. That's a long discussion. But what's important is if they have the ability to fix it, and if they feel that it's wrong, if they know it's wrong, then it must be what? Must be wrong. Because the Prophet ﷺ, we took in the hadith of the man who prayed badly, he says, فَاسْتَقْبِلِ الْقِبْلَةِ. He says, pray towards the what? The Qibla. Wallahu Alam.
Hanan Aslam from New York, New York. Assalamu alaikum Mufti. May Allah make you among those worthy of Jannah al-Firdaus. Should I wear hijab to school? I am a layman Muslim and I have been recommended not to because I am not a very knowledgeable Muslim and I may misrepresent Islam. I go to a public high school and I wear a kufi already, but I also want to wear a thobe.
Fadal Saleh. Next question, please. Take the mic under the table. No. For the next time you read the question. With regards to wearing a thobe to school, a person feels that he's not righteous enough, he's not knowledgeable enough, he may misrepresent Islam, etc. You want to do it, you already wear a kufi, wear a thobe. If you want to wear a thobe, then wear a thobe. Bidnillah. And perhaps by you wearing the thobe, it will force you to be more religious. It will force you to be conscious that you're representing Islam. And people are looking at you, and it's unfair, but it is the deck of cards that you're dealt. This is the game. You have no option of what cards you get. You're just one Muslim. But in 2017, terrorist attacks, New York City, blah, 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 the people, they look at what? They look at what? Islam. There is no, I'm a normal human being. I have bad days, what? Just like you do. I have problems, I have stress, I have issues. I could be down and out just like you. No. You're a Muslim. You're Islam. Let alone if you're knowledgeable. You have ilm, you have a beard. You're automatically what? You represent the entire deen, so be mindful of that. So my advice is to wear the thobe if you want to wear the thobe. And perhaps it will push you and force you towards what? Piety. And don't let anyone discourage you from that which you feel comfortable with as a Muslim. Wallahu alam.
JW, Washington, D.C., U.S. In regards to Salah, is it sunnah or recommended to recite surahs in chronological order as Quran has been compiled, earlier to later in first rak'ah to second rak'ah?
It's not necessarily mandatory. It isn't mandatory. Is it recommended? Is it sunnah? Like we said the other night when we were talking about ulum al-Quran, was Surah Fatiha, the first surah sent down? Was Surah Baqarah the first surah sent down? Was Ali Imran? Everybody understand this? So if it wasn't sent down like that in the time of Muhammad ﷺ, is it mandatory? First question, we said no. Is it recommended for me to stick to that chronological order? Everybody understand this? The tartib of the Mus'haf, how was it done? Was the Mus'haf al-Sharif put in chronological order? We know it can't be chronological order. The first surah sent down was either Al-Muddathir or Surah Iqra. Wasn't Al-Fatiha or Al-Baqarah. Bil-Ijma', according to all of the ulama. So how they put it together, did the Prophet ﷺ instruct the Sahaba to do that? Or was that from the ijtihad of the Sahaba? As far as the actual ayat, without a doubt, that's what the guidance of the Prophet ﷺ, the order of the ayat, without a doubt. But the order of the surah, the order of the surahs in the Quran, was that tawqifi or ijtihad of the Sahaba? Was it something that the Prophet ﷺ said to do and instructed them to do? Or something which they just put it together based off of the shura of the Sahaba who carried out that task? So if it's from the Prophet ﷺ, then one can say it's recommended to recite it in what? Chronological order. And if it isn't from the Prophet ﷺ, then we can't what? Necessarily say that. Wallahu alam. That's in brief. What's important is, before we go further, As we said this before, and we'll say it again in brief, and there's no disrespect to anyone, but it is the truth. The Qur'an and the people who specialize and focus and study on the recitation of the Quran and its modes, oftentimes, not all of the times, but oftentimes they have their own set of ahkam that are not in accordance with the sunnah. They have their own school, they have their own alumni, they have their own thought of things. Do this, say this, when you recite like this, do it like this. And there's no dalil in the authentic sunnah for those specific rulings. Just like the fuqaha, the people of usul, they have their own different philosophy in which they stick to. This their school of thought. But we're talking about ruling, ahkam. And you find many things, like say Sadaqallahu al-Azim. How popular is that among the reciters? Where's the hadith in which Prophet ﷺ said that, did that, or allowed that? Rather, the dalil is the exact opposite. Muhammad heard the Quran, he cried. Muhammad recited the Quran, Ibn Abbas recited the Quran, and that was it, khalas. But that's something that most of the reciters, they do what? They stick to with fervor. You have to say it. You got to do it. You have to face the Qibla when you recite the Quran. And the other people in the Salah. When you recite the Quran, you can't recite Surah Al-Buruj and Surah Al-Baqarah. La 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 la, no, you can't do it like that. Allahu Alam.
Hanan Islam, New York, New York. How do we advise people in MSA who are liberal and opposed to ideas of Quran and Sunnah?
How do we oppose or give advice to people who are liberal, so on and so forth, and then say, Adina nasiha. Give advice to anybody else. Anybody else. If they're willing to listen, if they're open-minded, if they're willing to talk and discuss and you know, they profess that I don't know much. I inherited Islam. I'm a Muslim, and this is the reality of many people today. I'm a Muslim just because my parents were. I'm not against Islam, but it was handed down to me. I don't know much. I'm living in America in 2017. I want to be an engineer. You know, I don't know much. If you have some knowledge, tafadhal, teach me, please. If they're willing to learn and listen, alhamdulillah. If they're not, if they're stuck on their ways, we have our way, lakum dinukum waliya din, so on and so forth, liberal, modern, open. And what can you do? What can you do? If someone you can give advice, give them advice. If not, turn away from them. Have good character. You follow the sunnah. You implement the sunnah. Call whoever you can and avoid fighting with them because it's of no fruit if their cup is extremely full of what Islam is supposed to be in 2017. وَمَنْ يُهِنِ اللَّهُ فَمَا لَهُ مِنْ مُكْرِمٍ. Allah says, whoever Allah humiliates, no one can what? Can honor. Allah musta'an. Ahmed.
What should we do with a person who says that Islam is not moral because under the Sharia, like a homosexual or a murtad would be killed?
Morality is defined by two things to us as Muslims. Kitab, Sunnah, and Ijma', the deen, and the sound fitrah. The sound fitrah. The fitrah that's sound, that hasn't been tainted and twisted and warped and perverted. Everybody understand this? And if you look at the history of the United States and many parts of the world, there were times in which certain aspects of the fitrah were more sound than what they are now. Okay, the discussion of homosexuality, LGBT, of course, is the hot topic of today. Just look at the history of the United States. What did they say about homosexuals and LGBT? And many other things as well. What did they say about women? What did they say about people that weren't Caucasian? What did they say about... Just read their own books. So how are we supposed to just switch and jump whenever you say switch and jump? One day it's immoral, the next day it's what? Totally moral and accepted. And if you say anything about it, you're an extremist, you're this, and you're that. Now, back then, maybe they were wrong back then. It was immoral then, and it is moral now, or vice versa. How do we know? Everybody understand this? Everybody turn this? As Imam Malik, rahimahullah's quote to have said, "Man ja'ala dinahu urdatan lil khusumati akthar at-tanaqqul." He says, anyone who always exposes his deen to argumentation and debate and this and that and this view, he says, akthar at-tanaqqul. He's going to jump and hop all over the place. One day it's wrong, one day it's good. The next day, 10 years later, we have a scientific discovery that proves that men can have children and the natural anatomy of the body isn't supposed to be like that, and it is natural for two men to have it. It will never stop. Wallahu alam.
HS, Ottawa, Canada. Assalamu alaikum, Shaykh. What is the ruling on touching a non-mahram? If I touch a non-mahram by accident at the store when I get my change, do I have to make my wudu again?
If you touch a non-mahram at the store First and foremost, try your best not to. And if you do, inshallah, Allah forgive you. I mean, bidnillah, yani, inshallah. It's not something that hopefully you have an evil intention behind. Sometimes it's hard to avoid it. You ask for the change you put down, sometimes you can't avoid it. And it's not always necessarily a lustful type of thing. It's just yani, something that you try your best to handle. As far as if they touch your hand, inshallah, you don't have to make wudu. You don't have to make wudu. Wallahu alam.
Osman Razak, George Mason University, Fairfax, Virginia. Assalamu alaikum Mufti, may Allah reward you. My question is, how does one overcome lack of focus and mind wandering during prayer?
Lack of focus and mind wandering in prayer is to think about who you're standing in front of and how great He is. And to think about the words in which you're saying. Allahu Akbar. Allah is greater than my belly that's grumbling or growling, which it shouldn't be. You should eat first. Allah is greater than my job. Is greater than me going back to work. Is greater than the parking ticket I might get. And anything else that you could be thinking and pondering of, Allah is what? Greater. And He deserves more. So to ponder on the salah, to learn the salah. And also to, bidnillah ta'ala, just understand the importance of concentration. Concentration is the mark of anyone who's great. In any field or aspect of life. Is what? It's concentration. Wallahu alam. Abdul Wadud.
Alhamdulillah, you just mentioned concentration. I've been wanting to ask you a question.
Get to the question.
Okay. What would you say is a healthy diet for a Muslim to follow that can be found in the Quran and Sunnah?
وَكُلُوا وَاشْرَبُوا وَلَا تُسْرِفُوا. Allah says, eat, drink, and don't go beyond the boundaries. Allah doesn't love those who do what? Who are musrifeen. Period. That's in the 7th chapter of the Quran, speaking about Adam alayhi salam and Hawa. Eat and drink, and don't go overboard. Whatever that means. Don't eat too much meat, if that's what that means. Don't eat too much. Don't be extreme vegan. Meat is bad. It destroys your body. It's horrible. You have 15 pounds of feces in your stomach. You're this, you're that. Every ill in the world today is based off of meat. This is what they say. Every aggression is based off of meat. If you eat meat, you're going to be aggressive, so on and so forth. Okay, so some of the people in history that you consider to be tyrants, and you consider to be tyrants and evil people, they were vegetarians, such as Adolf Hitler. He never ate meat. He was a vegetarian. So the Holocaust, according to what you're saying, the Jewish Holocaust, was that aggressive? So don't go extreme, Mom. Everybody understand this? Balance. Wallahu alam. Muhammad.
I always miss Zohar namaz because I have it during school and my lunch period is before.
Well, what you need to do is, inshallah, you need to figure out a time in which you can make your namaz. If you have wudu before you go, you get a bathroom break, 5 minutes, your mother writes you a note, you're in a Muslim school, you have to figure out some type of way you got to maneuver. You got to be smart, you got to be wise. Whenever you're in a bad situation or a challenge situation, you got to know how to what? Maneuver. So you may have a job in which you don't have time to stop and pray. So automatically come to the job, what wudu. Or wash your feet for Fajr. Then you put on your socks, you make a mess really quick. And then, can I go to the bathroom? 5 minutes, couple minutes, you make the salat that you can to the best of your ability. You got to be what? You got to be wise. And if you can, inshallah ta'ala, you get your parents or your teacher to actually allow you to make the salat, depending on what school you go to. You got to be what? You got to learn how to maneuver. Very important skill when you grow up is how to do what? How to properly maneuver for situations in which you're handicapped. Wallahu alam.
Harris Mahmood from Manchester, UK. I have memorized 12 juz and occasionally recite to teacher, but am finding difficulty due to no friends in local area with such aspirations. What do you advise? The internet?
Move. Next question.
Mahad Hussein Ibn Abu Ahmed, UK. May Allah bless you, Sheikh Abu Ramla. What is your advice to a woman that asks for too much mahar, more than what the brother can pay? She says she shouldn't be happy with any less money.
It depends. Maybe she's the one who's asking for the mahar, or maybe it's her father or her parents forcing her. If it's her, and if it's beyond your means, even if you have the money, but it's beyond your budget, don't marry that sister. Leave that sister alone. Go away. Period. Jazakallah khairan. May Allah bless you, give you a good husband. Huh? I found another. Do not force and jam a cube into the hole of a circle. You understand this? How do we do? Don't do that.
Yes.
Everybody understand this? If it's her parents and she's the good girl and you can get her away from that, that's one thing. But my advice is this, guys. Very important. And sisters as well. You're not, there's a few times, but in most cases when it's traditional Islamic marriage or Muslims that come from, other countries, there's second generation Muslims in America and Canada, you're not marrying the girl. You're marrying the family as well. Don't ever forget that. You're marrying her father. Huh? So if you have major friction with the father from day one, he doesn't like you, or he's this, or he's abusive, or the mother, she's a money fiend. Always, whatever the case is, know for sure that you're what? You're getting in bond with all of them. So be mindful, of who you marry. You're not just marrying a single girl, but it's what? Family. And oftentimes it may be a sister you want to marry, a brother you want to marry, and it's compatibility, and you really want, inshallah, it to work out. But the father says no, and the girl says what? I have to listen to my father. So be mindful of this. Allahu Alam.
Ibn Bilal, Flint, Michigan. May Allah preserve you and bless your family.
Alhamdulillah.
After performing wudu, the socks are put on. If wudu was broken after the socks were put on, is it permissible to put on shoes and wipe over shoes, or must the wiping be over the socks?
No, those socks have to be wiped upon. The only time Smiths would wipe over the shoes if you put on the shoes with wudu. Wallahu alam.
A.M. Manchester, UK. When an pious hadith narrator is known to have mental deficiency due to old age, his riwayas after his illness are deemed weak. But what if some hadiths he narrated were really authentic?
First and foremost is there's no what if really. Tajweez aqli is dalil, qara'an, mulabasat. Is context clues, proofs and evidences. What if is a lie? What if Abu Bakr lied? What if Ibn Abbas? What if this liar said it? There's none of that in the science of hadith. Everybody understand this? It's based off of what's in front of you. It's a tangible science, what you have in front of you. And what ifs and what could be and possibilities and pre-assumptions are what? In this, like the stars in the sky. That's the way of the people of usul, ahlul fiqh. Everybody understand this? Ahlul hadith, they deal with what they have in front of them thoroughly. Everybody clear on this? Secondly is, it's not necessarily true that if there's a pious, accurate narrator of hadith who becomes old and senile, his narration is absolutely rejected after he becomes old and senile. No. Rather, there are some narrators who narrated from him before he became old and senile. Everybody understand this? And there's some narrators who were weak all the time, even before they were senile, or before their books became burnt, and the list goes on. It's tafsir. What's important is the science of hadith as a beginner. Inshallah ta'ala, if you're taught and if you learn the basic rudimentary principles of arithmetic, 1 + 1 is 2. Al-fiqh's hadith is sahih. Saduq's hadith is hasan. Al-da'if, hada. In the beginning, if that's how you learn, tayyib. As you progress, as you grow, you learn that the hadith science is based off of detail. And there is no 1 + 1 = 2. Every hadith, as Ibn Rajab says, لِكُلِّ حَدِيثٍ ذَوْقُهُ, has its own taste. Has its own what? وَلَهُمْ نَقْدٌ خَاص. He says, for every hadith there's a specific way of criticizing it. There are general principles without a question, yes. There is the form, but then after that is the what? It's the formless. Without a doubt. Wallahu alam.
A.O. London, UK. My face is naturally oily, and so when doing wudu, do I have to remove the oil from my face before doing wudu?
No.
A.O. London, UK. Is it permissible to recite over water or recite over products or illnesses or diseases that one may have on the body?
According to some of the people of knowledge, it's permissible. Next question.
A.B. London, UK. In regards to performing salah, when going into sujood, can you explain whether to go down on your hands first or your knees? Which opinion should we follow?
Both are optional.
YA Egypt. Can you differentiate between studying Arabic and Islam?
Sure, I could study Hebrew without being a Jew. I could study Latin without being a Christian. It's just that simple. Is it attached in most cases? In most cases. First thing you think about Hebrew is what? Jewish or Yiddish. You think about Jewish. But it's not necessarily the what? The same. There are people who speak different languages aren't of different faiths. There are Christian Arabs. There are Jewish Arabs. There are atheists, Wali Arabs. There are people who are Freemasons and Satan worshippers. That come from what? The land of the what? The burning sand. Allah musta'an. It's just that simple, huh? However, a Muslim, if you're going to spend time and devote your energy to learning something, of course you're going to want some type of what? Spiritual benefit, huh? Wallahu alam.
TM from Ontario, Canada. I know it is haram to pray inside a bathroom. However, at work there's a room they provided me, a room to pray which has a shower and sink but no toilet. Is that okay to pray in?
The cup must be emptied in order for me to put anything in it. So to say I know it's haram to pray, that has to be what? Poured out. What's the proof that it's haram to pray in a bathroom? I'm not challenging anyone, but this is an honest question. The hadith that says that the earth is salah cannot be made in those 8 places is totally inauthentic. There's no hardcore dalil from Kitab and Sunnah saying that you cannot pray in the bathroom or Allah's name cannot be mentioned in the bathroom. There's umumat, generalities, general things, respecting Allah's name, the salah, the Qibla, the shayateen in general. But there is no clear, authentic dalil, the sarih that I know of, and my limited knowledge, that says that you cannot pray in the bathroom. That's first and foremost. All right. Secondly is, if they have a sink and a shower and there is no toilet or stall or john or whatever they call it, mirhal, tayyib, if there's just a faucet for water and for shower, then those who say that you can't mention Allah's name in the bathroom, or it's haram to mention Allah's name in the bathroom, or you can't pray inside of a hammam, mathalan, then it's not necessarily a place of najasa. All right, but it's not necessarily a place of what? Najasa. Now someone's going to say, how can you pray in the bathroom and it's najis? Is the entire bathroom najis? Some of the ulama of Islam, they say it's permissible to pray on a prayer rug that has najasa on the bottom of it, as long as not ala zahir as-sajada. Let alone in a place, hypothetically speaking, a bathroom, the toilet is there. It's a clean bathroom. I'm here praying salah. Everybody understand this? Wallahu alam. Abdul Wadud.
Yes. What good language programs like Zetterstone would you say have good benefits to it as far as
No specific program I could recommend. Get in where you fit in. Whatever's beneficial, do it and do it consistently. Book online, Medina, Egypt, South Africa, Yemen, this one, that one, Sheikh Fulan. We don't believe in what? None of that. Rigid thinking. Whatever is beneficial for you. This brother came from Medina, he's automatically more knowledgeable than him who came from Yemen. This brother studied in Damaj, he's automatically a better... I don't believe in any of that. Everybody understand this? It's not the move, but the what? The movement. There's no, what's the superior martial art? There's no such thing as superior martial art. Put 2 people in a fight on the street, and the one who wins is what?
the master?
Everybody understand this. Wallahu alam. How hard you work, how talented you are, how much effort you put in, how long you study. Of course, there are levels without a question. But there's no one person is automatically better than the next one. The one who studied in Algeria could be far more knowledgeable than the one who studied in Medina, depending on the person. The brother who studied in Damaj could be far better than the one who studied in another country. It's depending on what you put into it and what Allah has decreed for you. We have to get out of this way of what? Thinking. Wallahu alam.
A.M. Wellington, New Zealand. Assalamu alaikum, Sheikh. Can you please give me an understanding of this hadith? Worship during al-Hajj is like hijrah to me. I don't know Arabic to truly understand.
Hadith is in Sahih Muslim, narrated by Ma'qil ibn Yasar radiallahu ta'ala anhu. The virtue of performing ibadah during times of strife, when people are killing and murdering, when people are busying themselves with this and that and flan and flama, the president and this and that and all of this nonsense that people are busying themselves with. You stay focused upon ibadah. It's like what? A diamond shining, among coal. Even though the diamond what? Comes from the coal. Everybody understand this? A diamond in the rough, they say. That's what this hadith is teaching us. Is that it's so easy to be distracted, Abdul Qawi, and to follow the masses of the people, the pressure and to conform. but you're focusing on ibadah, whatever that ibadah is, jihad fi sabilillah, seeking ilm, feeding your family from the halal, whatever the ibadah is, and the rest of the people are what? In harj, murder and strife and drama and problems. So it's kahijratin ilayya, it's like making hijrah what? To me, it's a virtue. Wallahu alam.
AO London, UK. I owe Miss Zakat for the last 9 years, but from what the debit card of my account was with my mother, and she spent money from this card without my knowledge. How should I pay Zakat on this?
When you get the money back from your mother, pay the zakat. When you get the money back, whatever is owed to you, you do what? Pay the zakat for the years which you missed. Wallahu alam.
NY Scotland. What book should a student of knowledge memorize after the Quran and Hadith?
We need the city or the town in Scotland, please. Next question. Inshallah, they can put the city or the town and we'll answer the question, hopefully. Ahmed. Is Tawheed al-Hakimiyyah mentioned in the books of the Salaf? In general, the concept of Tawheed and it being in 3 types or 4 types or 2 types is very different. How we study and read it today is different how it was back then. There are many books of Aqeedah or Iman and the categorization of Tawheed is not mentioned at all. Mutlaqan is not mentioned. It's not what? Mentioned at all. The concept of Tawheed, there's no question about that. But the categorization of it, 2 types, al-talab, wal-qasd, al-ma'rifah, wal-ithbat, al-rububiyyah, al-uluhiyyah, and many of the books, not all, but many of them, that categorization is not what? Mentioned. And there are some books in which it is what? Mentioned. Some of the ulama said 2. Some of them said 3. Some of them mentioned in general, Tawheed. Everybody understand this? So, is it an issue of ijtihad or is it an issue of ijma'? Is there ijma' that there are only 3 categories of Tawheed? Or is that ijtihad? If there's ijma', then there's a problem, without a question. To say there's a 4th or 5th or 5th type or 6th type. If there's ijtihad, then it's open for what? Ijtihad. Everybody clear on this or not? Now, I know it's a very sensitive topic. I'm not going to get too crazy. We don't have a lot of time. A lot of us, but the bottom line is this. If you say that there's such thing as it's called Tawheed al-Hakimiyyah or Tawheed al-Mutaba'ah, some people today say it's a 4th type, which is Tawheed al-Mutaba'ah. Clearly showing you that some people say that the categorization, listen carefully, Tawheed, not an issue of ijtihad, but the taqseem, the categorization of it. Some people, they say it's an issue of clear what? Ijtihad. And that there's no ayah or hadith saying that there are what? 3 types of Tawheed, or 2 types of Tawheed, or 4 types of Tawheed. Everybody understand that? So if there's not ijma', and there's a scholar who's qualified, and he makes ijtihad and says another type of Tawheed is mutaba'ah or hakimiyyah, then that's what? Perhaps. After the categorization, if that's correct, then we look at what's the content of Tawheed al-Hakimiyyah or al-Mutaba'ah. What's meant by that? And what's meant by those who refute it and denounce it? Listen very carefully, okay? What is meant by those who affirm it and those who what? Reject it. The one who affirms Tawheed al-Hakimiyyah, this is a hypothetical example, I'm affirming this to make takfir upon people and to fight people and kill people and they're apostate, so on and so forth. That's one thing. And the one who rejects this Tawheed al-Hakimiyyah is rejecting it because it's my job to protect this regime and this government. You can't say that the kuffar. You can't say that it has to be Sharia. You can't say that. You can't say that. You can't say that. Now you're stuck in the middle now. So go back to the kitab and the sunnah. Is it Allah's right to have the hukum or not? What does Allah say about the ruling of the taghut? What does Allah say about the sharia? Whatever's in the kitab and the sunnah, we what? We take. Is it enough to make a 4th category of Tawheed, or is it sufficient to be included in the what? The first 3. So some they say that it's no need for Tawheed al-Hakimiyyah because it's involved in the first 3. And then some scholars say there's no need for 3 types of Tawheed because it's involved in the first 2. Everybody see the issue here? What's important, the most important thing is the content. Is the what? The content. To make takfir on a Muslim incorrectly and accurate, without accuracy is what? Is a major sin. It's a problem. Everybody understand this? And to reject clear kufr bawah, according to kitab and sunnah and ijma', is also what? A problem. Everybody got this or not?
Yeah.
Hopefully my words are clear. Inshallah. Wallahu alam. This will be our last question tonight, inshallah.
HA Toronto, Canada. walks between you and your sutra while praying, should you stop the baby?
The generality of the proofs and evidences is do not allow anyone to pass between you and your sutra. Whether it's a human being, whether it's a jinni, shaitan, or whether it's a sheep. That's the generality of the dalil. What the Prophet said, لا تدع أحدا يمر. He says, do not allow anyone to pass. It's general. And also the generality of the actions of the Prophet ﷺ. He stopped different things that try to come between him and his sutra, even if they weren't human beings. Everybody clear on this or not? Everybody understand this? That's the generality. However, looking at the maqasid, the major higher aims and objectives of the Sharia, and the concept of a child and a baby and harm, yani, if you have the ability, pick up the baby, la bas. If the baby comes in front of you, perhaps one can say what? La bas. Wallahu alam. Jazakumullahu khairan for your time and attention. Wa sallallahu sallam wa barak ala abdihi wa rasulihi nabina Muhammad.